DECA's contribution in various important international agencies like the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, Red Cross, and other is notable. Currently, he is serving as an advocate in Guwahati High Court. Alongside, he has also been a visiting faculty in many prestigious universities, including Guwahati University, ILI, New Delhi, etc. So I, on behalf of the organizing team, take the privilege to welcome you, sir, to this seminar. So now we'll still start our technical session. Nilupar, sir, the platform is all yours.
Thank you very much, Preeta, and thank you very much for joining us, Professor Dr. Valla sir, and all the participants. Um, I'll start with not I'll start with the basic concepts regarding intellectual property, then the traditional knowledge, and then a bit about geographical indications. And later on, I'd like to concentrate more on the constitutional part of the fact that how we can protect the traditional knowledge as far as our constitution is concerned, and what is in the constitution and what is not in the constitution for the protection of traditional knowledge, which is an emerging area in the intellectual property. Um, let me see the let me come to my presentation. I've prepared PPT presentation for this. Yes, I'll be going very briefly about the conceptual aspects of traditional knowledge in and intellectual property, then the indigenous knowledge, and also about geographical indication. Very briefly, I'll go about it. So, what is intellectual property? While trying to understand the concept of intellectual property, we need to follow a sequence to understand the concept. That is, I'm trying to simplify it because I'm told the students will also be participating in this webinar. So the sequence is our intellect, which is the mind or the brain. Intellectual is which you or someone or anyone that is connected with or using a person's ability to think in a logical way and understand things. Finally, intellectual property, which is an idea that somebody has created, and law prevents others from copying. In the intellectual property, we have different areas like patents, copyright, trademark, geographical indications, and many things we can go for register. There's an national as well as international regime, how we can protect them, how we can register them. So whatever be the intellectual property, that will be the creation of our mind, be it a patent, be it a trademark, be it geographical indication, be it copyright. Then this is a brief about the intellectual property, which is being the Article 28 of the Convention establishing World Intellectual Property Organization. Here we can see, let me read out. Intellectual property includes literary, artistic, and scientific work, performances of performing artists, phonograms, broadcast, inventions in all fields of human endeavor, scientific discoveries, industrial designs, trademark, service marks, and commercial names and designations, protection against unfair competition, and all other rights resulting from intellectual activity in the industrial, scientific, literary, or artistic field. This definition is basically the codification of various types of intellectual property that has come up with the establishment of the World Intellectual Property Organization. Now, let us see, as I have told, my plan of presentation will be from the indigenous knowledge to traditional knowledge to geographical indication. For that matter, let us see some conceptual things like the indigenous. What does it mean? Indigenous, so far as the international or the national codification is concerned, there is not an acceptable definition for indigenous. Now, originating. So, what does it mean? Originating or occurring naturally. I'm trying to find it out from a dictionary. I have followed the Collins English dictionary, which properly suits for our purpose at this moment. So, originating or occurring naturally in a country or a region, native or innate, that is something inherent and specially of flora and fauna, produced naturally in a region, belonging naturally to soil, etc. This is something what is indigenous. As I have gone through the dictionary, because there is not a single acceptable definition in the entire world regarding the indigenous or indigenous peoples. Now I'm coming to the indigenous peoples. Now, what are indigenous people? This is J. Martinez Cabo. So he has been the special rapporteur of the United Nations Subcommittee on Prevention of Discrimination and Protection of Minorities. Now, let us see the definitional aspect of the from the United Nations Special Rapporteur. What does it mean? Those which having a historical continuity. This historical continuity is important, with spatial invasion, with pre-invasion and pre-colonial societies that developed on their territories, consider themselves distinct from other sectors of the societies now prevailing in those countries or part of them. They form at present non-dominant sectors of the society and are determined to preserve, develop, and transmit to future generations their ancestral territories and their ethnic identities as the basis of their continued existence as peoples in accordance with their own cultural pattern, social institution, and legal system. These three phrases: existence of indigenous people, own cultural pattern, that is which is it will be very important, the social institutions and legal systems. So this is briefly about the indigenous people, where it will be important about the historical continuity about those people, about the indigenous people. Then that has to transmit that has to transmit from a pre-invasion and pre-colonial societies. That will be what will be important, and they'll be having their own cultural pattern, social institutions, and legal systems. That is about the indigenous people. Now this is about indigenous knowledge, that is IK. IK is used to describe knowledge held and used by communities, peoples, and nations that are indigenous. IK, knowledge that has been possessed from centuries, that is very much innate to their soil. So that is from where we get the indigenous knowledge. Now, what is traditional knowledge? In the contemporary world of intellectual property, traditional knowledge is recognized as intellectual production, which is a source of economic and cultural value, especially for local communities in developing countries across the globe. As of now, there is no universally accepted definition of TK. TK has been defined in broad terms by various international organizations and scholars as a diverse range of tradition-based innovations and creations resulting from intellectual activity in the industrial, scientific, literary, and artistic field. Such a broad definition, from performing arts to cultivating agricultural products to medicinal use of plants, including diverse intellectual fields, means that TK, traditional knowledge, can be recognized into several subsets, from some of which are designated by terms genetic resources, traditional medicinal knowledge, and folklore. Like in the intellectual property, we have different areas under the umbrella in intellectual property, like patents, trademarks, copyright, etc. In the under the traditional knowledge umbrella, we have various genetic resources, and it will include medicinal resources. It will include the flora and fauna from where we have the medicinal resources. Then we have folklore, folk music, which can also be clubbed under the umbrella called traditional knowledge. Then briefly about the geographical indication. A geographical indication is a sign used on products that have specific geographical origin and possess qualities on a reputation that are due to that region. In order to function as a GI, a sign must identify a product or originating in a given place. In addition, the qualities, characteristics, reputation of the product should be essentially due to the place of origin. Since the qualities depend on the geographical place of production, there is a clear link between the product and its original place of production. Like in France, we have the champagne. Like we have in Assam, the Muga silk. Like we have Darjeeling tea. The place of origin, the taste will differ. So the taste will differ if we have, if we want, if we plant plant a tea in other region, we will not get the same place. The champagne, the taste of champagne will not get in any other place except in the place called champagne. So the place, the qualities, characteristics, or reputation, or place of origin, that is what matters for a registration nationally or internationally as a geographical indication. Now the correlation between the indigenous knowledge and traditional